Welcome to Real Estate Agent Superstars. From groundbreaking strategies to personal stories of triumph, we're here to uncover the secrets behind the success of the real estate industry's elite. And now, here is your host, R.J. Baxter.
Our guest today is Kevin Capra, who is on a team with Compass Real Estate with his wife, Devin Capra, and they call their team the Capney Collection. He's been in the business 19 years in various areas of the business and on the real estate side for quite a few years. And we're really excited to have him join us today to share some things that he's doing in his business to be successful. So thanks a lot for joining us, Kevin.
Absolutely. Thank you, RJ.
Yeah, you're welcome. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got involved in the business. You've been in the industry for 19 years, but real estate only in the more recent years. So tell us a little bit about that evolution and how you got into the business.
Yeah. So, funny enough, in high school, I didn't, senior year, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Didn't have anything on the map, but I had an interest in real estate from the time I was 14. Started reading books on personal growth, development, and real estate specifically at 14. So I had the idea that let's open a mortgage company. And so did that out of high school. And I just didn't, it wasn't for me. It was great. I was great at it. It wasn't my cup of tea. So what I did was my business partner and I that had started that together, neither one of us liked it. We made enough money to pay off the lease for the building we had, pay off all the little things that we had taken out loans and leases on. And we paid it up and took the leftover money that we had and we bought a flip. And from there, we ended up learning how to do that really well, took some courses on that. And we did that full time, did that for a number of years with him. We were doing, I think the first month we jumped all in, bought 10 flips, went kind of crazy on it. Still do those in the background here and there as they kind of fall into my lap. But with that, him and I ended up going our separate ways just as life would have it. He met somebody and she wanted to do design, so they started doing more stuff together. We're still amazing friends. We still do some stuff together in the realm of real estate and flips, but we went our separate ways as far as doing everything in the partnership that we had. And I went and I started speaking. I was teaching real estate negotiations and real estate investing, did that for 8 years. While I was doing that, I had my wife actually get her real estate license to help us, and she could handle all of our transactions for our flips and everything that we were doing personally. She had no desire to get her license. It was more of me. I think I must have asked her 100 times before she agreed. And the way she put it was, if I get my license, will you shut up? And so she did. And she was bugged at work nonstop. Somebody was asking her, can you please just help me? You're the only person we know that we trust. Just help me. So she caved and helped somebody else outside of me. She fell in love with the business. And so while I was out speaking and teaching real estate investing and negotiations, she had actually gotten to a point where she had a couple years under her belt, went independent, started our own brokerage. And as our kids grew, speaking became tougher and tougher. There was a point in time where they would all come out with me and we would have my wife, our au pair, all 3 kids come out, but then they all hit school age. So my wife said, you're done speaking. We need you home. And the way she put that was, if you get on another flight, your stuff's going to be in the front lawn. And so it was a really easy conversation. Yeah. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. This is what I know. I've done this for 8 years. I don't even know what to do. And she kind of looked at me like I was an idiot. And she said, Kevin, we do own a brokerage and you've been in real estate for literally forever. So It's time. Just get your license. It's that simple. I need help. I'm overly busy. The brokerage, could run a little bit better. And it seems like a no-brainer. So that's what I did. I went and got my license. I actually became essentially her assistant for a while and was doing everything she didn't want to do. And more, I started taking over clients because she was a little bit burnt out, especially with running the kids around, getting them into school, getting them into sports, getting them into activities, and balancing all of that. plus running all of our brokers and our personal business. So we got to a point where I took that over for her, and she still to this day runs our team. She does it very, very well. She handles a lot of, or her and myself, she handles a lot of our back end business. And I guess I always say she's the brains behind the operation. It's a good thing people meet me first, because if they meet me first, then they're going to love her and they can still put up with me. But if they meet her first and then they meet me, they're going to be like, well, you know,
Yeah.
we started at the top. It only goes downhill from here. So, so I always kind of give everybody a hard time. I tell all of our clients that, and she's just incredible and does an incredible job with our team. But that is really how I got to be a licensed agent, got where I am, and why I'm the one up front now when it comes to mine and Devin's business.
Awesome. So how long, and then for you, how long have you had your license?
That's a good question. It's either been since 2018 or 2019, so not terribly long.
Okay.
But even when I was doing it from flips, so going back to, it was 04 or 05 was the first flip. I mean, we actually found a brand new agent that we could train the way we wanted to when we got into that. And we did it that way so that I could write the contracts the way I wanted to. And part of the reason I had my wife get her license years down the line is there were just things that I thought could have been done better and could have been resale. The properties could have been marketed better. And so that was really how all of that evolved. It was primarily for the flips. And as life would have it, my wife fell in love with the business and I stopped traveling. I happen to love real estate. It's all I know. And I happen to be pretty darn good at it. So it just happened to work out for everybody. And, a big part of the thing that a lot of people hate in this business is the negotiations. That's my favorite part. So for me, it was kind of just a natural, go right in. And Devin always jokes, we can be at the grocery store. And in fact, pretty recently I came home and I was mixing a new drink. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, the guy at King Soopers, I was talking to him at line and he said this was phenomenal. I had to try it." It's like, "What the hell did you have that long of a conversation at King Soopers for?" Like, we were waiting in line. And she'll just tell me, I'll go wait in the car, because I can, if I see somebody, we just naturally start talking. And so I think all of it just comes very natural for me. And it's something that it's all I know my entire life.
Awesome. So take me forward to today. What does your team look like? You mentioned Devin runs the team. So who all do you have on your team?
Yeah, so we have some incredible agents. We have some part-time, some full-time. And funny enough, our biggest thing is we just want our agents to be who they are. And a great example of that is one of our newest agents. He was on another team for a year, and he was doing a lot of the right things. It's not that I wouldn't tell anybody to do these things that he was doing, but he was making 5 calls a day to his sphere, and he was writing 5 handwritten notes to his sphere as well every single day, picking 5 different people on each end and doing that every day. On top of that, he was doing a newsletter every week, and it was required by the team to do that. My issue with that was it was the exact same newsletter. They couldn't customize it. They were asked to keep it exactly what it was. And, our take and the way we do everything on our team and the way Devin runs it is we want to get to know the agent and what their personalities are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. And we want to lean into that. And so when we got to know him, we found out that he hadn't done a deal in that entire year with the other team. And his sphere was starting to unsubscribe. And we asked him, "Well, why do you think that is?" He said, "Well, honestly, we have somebody else on the team who has a lot of the same people in her sphere, and they're getting the exact same information, the exact same newsletter from both of us, the exact same day. Everybody's unsubscribing from both of ours. And now we've both lost all of those clients." So, we dig in and we find out who somebody is, what their strengths and weaknesses are. And we took him, for example, and we found out his background was digital marketing. And that's something that we do a lot of to market our listings. And we said, "You know what? Why are you not doing social media?" He said, "Well," and I won't name names just because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but He said,
Right.
my old team lead said that doesn't work. So I opened up and I just said, look, I'm going to tell you, like, it's not my favorite thing to do, but if that's what you're good at, you need to lean into it. And,
Hmm.
here's some examples. And I literally just showed him I had 11 deals under contract at that time. I said, look, 4 of these come from social media and I suck at it. And so he kind of laughed and I'm like, look, just, you need to lean into who you are and let's develop a strategy for that. So we sat down with him and Devin and I worked with him, and Devin really spent a ton of time and they developed what he was going to do. He loved open houses, and I should say loves, loves open houses, loves social media. So we kind of leaned into his goofy side a little bit. He makes really
Hmm.
funny videos. And the funny thing is, he told us that he was at a birthday party and the other agent that had stayed on that team was there as well. And for once, nobody was hearing from him 5 times, the 5 calls a day. They weren't hearing from him every other month, because 5 people a day, you run out of people and you run out of things to talk about at some point. And they weren't getting his same old newsletters and the people that hadn't unsubscribed anyway. And we told him, you know what, just really lean into who you are. And the funny thing is, at the end of that, he came back to us the next day. He goes, something really weird happened. I leaned into everything you guys said, and 3 people approached me and asked them, hey, are you still doing real estate? We haven't got your stuff, but we've seen your videos, and we just want to make sure you're still doing it directly because we're thinking about buying or selling.
Huh, nice.
Yeah. And um, meanwhile, the other person was doing what she was supposed to be doing and handed out cards to everybody at the party. Well, fast forward, and that was 2 or 3 months ago,
Hmm.
and I went to one of his first closings. It was somebody from that birthday party, and they waited for her to leave, and they basically had opened up to him and said it was a little bit uncomfortable. She was a little bit pushy, and they
Mm.
were sick of seeing canned information and stuff that was clearly just basic, for
Yeah,
lack of better words, just regurgitated information being sent out. They
generic.
loved his originality and loved that he was actually starting to become who he was. And they wanted to work with him because they loved everything they saw and thought it was hilarious, fun, and that's who they wanted to work with. So, in just a few months, we've been through 3 closings. He's got his fourth and fifth coming up, and
Mhm.
he's happy. He's having fun. And funny enough, he's picking up business when other people are declining right now.
That's really awesome. That's a great story. So what is your digital marketing strategy? That's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the podcast. What kinds of things do you guys do as a team or individually that are working for you?
Yeah. So one thing that we try to do for every listing, and that I really do, and I'm not good at social media, but I think this is where you find your strengths and weaknesses, figure out
Mm.
who your ideal client is, figure out where they are and the best place to target them. And for me, a lot of that is social media. So I actually have some help with it. I have somebody hold me accountable every week. We touch base and, hey, have you made 2 posts this week? If the answer is no, I've got to get to work. I've got to get some content done. I've got to write some ad copy, and we've got to get it up. It's
Mm.
to stay top of mind. But more importantly, then when we have our listings, right now I have a retargeting audience just in the area that I focus in, which I primarily focus in Douglas County. I'm from Arvada, grew up in Arvada, Westminster area. So I do a ton up north. My wife and I lived in Brighton, so we do a ton out east. And then,
Mm.
funny enough, we've had a ton of clients move out west. So
Mm.
we cover the entire Denver metro area. But as far as somebody, if they don't know us previously and they're looking on Zillow or Google, they're probably going to find me in the South Metro Denver area. So the marketing and everything I do on social media is primarily based toward Douglas County, and
Mm.
everything I do there is to gather potential buyers. And I'm targeting potential buyers in Douglas County because then when I get a listing, everything that I do, I can put an extra, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80,000 sets of eyes on a listing because I already have that retargeting audience that's already
Mm.
built in, and I know that they're looking for homes. They've reached out to me at some point. I have talked to a lot of them, emailed back and forth, and I have that database of buyers. I know what a lot of them are looking for. And now I can put those properties directly in front of them when they come up and make sure that we're really doing right by our sellers rather than just putting a sign in the yard and putting it on the MLS. We
So just in case someone's listening and doesn't know what retargeting is, tell me what you mean by that.
Um, it's online stalking. So if you think of it, and I joke about it, but I think we can all relate to it when we are talking to a friend about something, or we're browsing for a product. And even if we're just mentioning it in conversation,
Hmm.
and next thing you know, we open our phone and we see an ad for it on Facebook or Instagram or Google or wherever we happen to be going online. And that ad seems to be chasing us for the product that we magically just spoke about. That's retargeting. We all know the biggest brands out there do it. So when I look at that,
Yep.
and when I get Rolex retargets me because I like watches. And when I see companies like that are doing it at that level, and that everybody is well aware of who they are, tells me it's probably something that I should be doing as well. And so that's where I chose to put a lot of my efforts. And it's something that I know I can predict business a lot better as well. I took some
Mm.
time off to coach my son's football team and slowed down after my just absolutely wild May and June. I went all in knowing that I was going to be slowing down when school started and sports fired up for all the kids. And, I looked at it and I started getting my schedule. So last week I got back to work and was able to increase flow again. And I always pretend that my phone doesn't actually make outgoing calls. And I know that sounds really weird, especially given what I do. It's not that I
Mm.
don't make outgoing calls. It is that I like to put myself in a mindset of how do I make my phone ring and people come to me? And that is how my marketing works. And when I do it, like within the past, gosh, since last Monday, so what has that been? 10 days. I've literally gotten 9 people call me with either repeat or referral clients, or somebody that found me from retargeting or Zillow or Google. And if I look at my board, I had 4 listing appointments in the last 2 days, where it's really nice to be able to turn that on and off as you kind
Mm.
of need it. And I don't know a lot of people that are able to do that. When you do marketing right and you're doing that for your listings, you can also translate that and do it for yourself.
That's awesome. So what kinds of actual content are you posting?
So really fun. I am really big into doing ads that don't look like ads.
Mm.
So it just looks like a genuine Facebook post for me, and or Instagram or wherever you happen to be. So I'm not into looking like every other agent. I don't offer, hey, free CMA or whatever, because I just feel that there's some value lost in that. I want people to know who I am as a person. I want them to see, yes, I want them to see who I am. But a great example of one is one that I went up today. It's that the proof is in the sold sign, right? That one is probably the most real estate related that I've done in a while.
Hmm.
Oftentimes I will just talk about another business. I'll do small business spotlights, and I will go
Mm.
to a local restaurant. I did Courtyard Social in Castle Rock pretty recently.
And is this
Um,
like in a video format or a post, or what are you doing for
in a
that?
post, either video or photos, but I do a lot of photos, and part of it is because I'm not, a lot of times it is just me or me and my wife. So it's kind of capturing the moment and letting people know about the businesses that we use, we like, we trust. And there's a lot of power in that alone. I know for me, part of keeping my phone ringing is always being the central hub to all of our clients for everything. So,
Hmm.
funny enough, anytime we have a client move from out of state, we get referrals and, hey, they're moving from Virginia. Well, that tells me automatically, okay, their license plates on their cars are probably from Virginia. Well,
Hmm.
what the heck does that have to do with real estate? Nothing. But what it does for me is it allows me to start opening up my sphere to somebody who's new into town. And now I'm the one they come to for, hey, we know you're a
Mm.
guy, but the wife will call me and, hey, what stylist would you recommend in the area? And all of a sudden they're coming to me for a mechanic, a stylist. And that all starts because I saw their plates
I
were from
love that.
Virginia, and I introduced them to my auto broker to do a VIN verification to get their license plates for Colorado. And then I let them
Mm.
know, look, if you need anything, it doesn't have to be real estate related, as you can see, let me know. I'm very fortunate in what I do that I meet a ton of people. We have resources for anything and everything, whether it's remodeling, it's pest control, it's an auto broker that can do a VIN verification or help you with your next vehicle. It's the HVAC guy, it's the plumber. These are all people that we know, we like, we trust, that
Mhm.
we have in our homes. And we open that up to you. You're a client now, you're a part of the family, and not just our contacts, but when we say you're kind of a part of the family, we really do have our real estate family for all of our clients. You're going to be invited to 2 to 4 of our client appreciation events a year. And we do them, we'll either rent out like a, what's the word I'm looking for? We've rented out a brewery before. We've rented out just a event space. That's the word. Sorry. Event space. And we do a lot of them at the house. We have one coming up in October. It is my wife's favorite. She does an amazing job planning them. We'll have our kitchen island. We don't do a charcuterie board. We have a charcuterie island. And we have our entire center island is charcuterie board. And we have bounce castles for kids outside. We do horse-drawn carriage rides with with the Clydesdales out there, and we do those around the neighborhood. We do a chili cook-off on that one. But the really cool thing is we bring in 400 or 500 pumpkins, and we put them in our field. So now all of our clients are coming in. They're seeing us again. We're really having a good time with them because these are, I mean, they become our friends. That's just who our network is now. And they're coming in and they don't go to the pumpkin patch. They come to our pumpkin patch that we made in our field for our clients for the client appreciation event. And they get to really just see us outside of work, and we get to see them outside of a real estate transaction.
Mhm.
And for us, that creates a ton of business opportunity.
That's awesome. I was curious, do you invite your vendors to these events, like your mechanic and your auto broker and your
So,
hairstylist?
so here's the really funny thing is we do, but and a lot of it is because they're all clients. So we only invite clients. So our auto broker is a client, our
That's where I
mechanic,
was.
we have
Yeah.
one of our mechanics is a client. We have, um, I
Yep.
think we have 2 title company reps and one that owns a title company that are clients. We have 3 lenders that are clients.
Mhm.
So yeah, when we have our vendors that are there, we have our inspector that's there because he's a client.
Mhm.
Um, so the answer is yes and no. It is if they're a client, absolutely they're invited. If they're not, would we tell them no? Of course not, because most of these people have met some of our vendors anyway, especially some of the inspectors. So if an
Mhm.
inspector that wasn't a client wanted to come by, of course they'd be welcome, just because it is part of the network and the sphere that could help everybody there at some point.
Sure.
But the invite doesn't necessarily go out to them. In fact, I have gotten a hard time from my granite guy specifically. Every event I've done that he has seen somebody post a picture of or anything like that, I always get a text that says thanks for the invite, and he takes it really personally. And I've explained to him, look, it's nothing personal. I love you. You're a great friend, but you're also not a client. Your wife happens to be an agent, and I don't think I'm
Sure.
going to get your business. And if I do, your wife is going to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
His stuff will be out on the lawn.
yeah. Oh, yeah. His
Yeah,
stuff
that
be
one.
on the lawn, and I don't think I'd want to be a part of that conversation. Although we do have 2 clients that their moms are real estate agents,
Hmm.
um, and we have one that's got 2 cousins that they're real estate agents. He interviewed 32 agents. 2 of them were his cousins, and I was really lucky enough that his after him and his wife bought and sold, he referred his mother, and she bought and sold with us, and he decided to bring the cousin to the home inspection. So that made it a little bit odd.
Mhm.
Um, it was a great conversation. He wanted them to learn from us and kind of see how we did things a little bit differently. And so it was actually really good, but it was definitely a little bit awkward when it's like, hey, here's my cousin who I didn't use. I wanted you to meet him and so he could learn from you. I'm like, you could have warned me, but awesome to meet you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I hear you. And that's where I was going with that question too. I was curious, and I suspected that a lot of these vendors would become clients. So, or refer people to you.
they do. And that's, And funny enough, even my granite guy has referred people to me, as odd as that sounds.
Yeah.
And his wife does it more part time, and she handles all of their stuff. But even he has. It's just if he uses me, he is in trouble. um, it's
Yeah.
not to say he can't say I'm a good fit for somebody else. It's that if he uses me,
Right.
I'm with you. His stuff's going to be in the lawn.
Yeah. Yeah. So what other, tell me about some of the other events that you've done or do regularly.
Yeah. So Fall Festival is my wife's favorite. We do that one every year. We try to shake it up, but the two that seem to be really consistent, because they've just been the ones with the best turnout rates that have had the best feedback, are the
Mhm.
Fall Festival and then the Christmas event. Christmas, because we have Santa there. We have him there with his Clydesdales. Again, horse-drawn carriage with Santa singing
Mm.
Christmas carols through the neighborhood. We open up the house so it's indoor and outdoor, depending on the weather, of course. And there's a ton to do. But we even had an Easter event. We do Easter events a lot of the time. Obviously, they're centered around holidays when people are, wanting to go out and looking for something to do anyway. Our
Mhm.
Easter event a couple years ago, we brought in llamas and alpacas for like a petting zoo for the kids. And some of the pictures with those, like they were just hilarious. They were awesome. And, we like to be different. We don't like to just have an event that is like, hey, come by, have a drink, have some appetizers, and leave. We really want it to be a memory. We want people to have a really good time with their family. And I was just talking to my HVAC guy last week. He actually sent me somebody, and I should say one of my HVAC guys. He sent me somebody, and he called me with the client there, of course, and I had no idea. So I just, Paul, how the heck are you doing? And I started chatting, and he goes, well, I'm not calling you to catch up. I'm actually with a client. He's
Hmm.
looking to sell his house. I'm at work right now, but let's catch up later. And I called him later that day, and I was telling him, hey, mark your calendars. Here's the next event. And he's like, dude, I can't make it again. You need to change the event. They're awesome. I want to be there. And of course, he was joking, but he's also like, he was
Yeah.
really disappointed that he couldn't make it,
Yeah.
which is really cool to hear. When people are truly disappointed they can't get there and they try to move the important things in their life to be there. I feel like, you're doing something right. And that I wish I could take credit for that. That's all my wife. The events are her. I just show up and talk too much, as always.
Yeah, you're doing something right if people are rearranging their schedule and disappointed
Yeah.
if they can't make it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and the tough part is we do help people that are going through tough times in life as well. So, we have divorce clients that both want to be there and will get texts that are a little bit awkward sometimes of, hey, will my ex-husband be there? Will my ex-wife be there? And, it's like, well, they are on the RSVP, but you're more than welcome to go. And even when
Hmm.
that happens, usually they have a great time. And luckily, most knock on wood, everybody's been amicable in the past, when they have run into those odd scenarios. But that's
Yeah.
about as weird as it's gotten, is just a little bit of, oh, I didn't know they were going to be here. That's the worst we've ever had in years of doing it. So
Now, here's a question I have is I was thinking about like the Santa event, for example.
yeah,
The kids love Santa, of course, but what about do families come that, like I have older kids, that, of course, Santa's not a thing,
yeah.
or maybe an older couple that their kids are out of the house, or someone just starting off that doesn't have kids. Do you attract all your clients to these events and have things for different people? Is it the whole event that kind of brings them in?
It is. It's the event, and depending on what the event is and what year it is, we really try to shake it up to make sure there's something for adults, older kids, younger kids. Obviously, the younger kids are, they're the ones that kind of have all the big fun stuff, the bounce castles and all that.
Sure.
But like any event, drinks, food. There's always something to do. We always, I mean, depending on weather, there's some of them will have cornhole tournaments. The chili cook-off's a great example. I mean,
Okay.
we we literally the last one they're supposed to enter ahead of time. Most people did a phenomenal job, but we ended up with like 6 extra chilies that we didn't have room for because they were supposed to tell us at least a week in advance they were bringing a chili so that we could run power to the tables, have everything set up and have a placement set for them, a label, because it's all anonymous voting. Everybody gets a ticket. We have it set up. Everybody can try it. You put your ticket in the one that wins. Every year somebody wins like a gift card. We have a huge trophy that they get to keep for the year. And
Cool.
I don't know if I've ever told you this when we've talked on the phone, but I really am hoping that somebody else takes first place this year.
You did tell me that.
The last 2 years, my mom has won, and I'm like, I'm not even going to let you enter. I mean, you're a client, but I don't want to let you enter it. It looks rigged.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, it's anonymous. I mean, everything's really transparent and upfront, and she really does make like a chili a week the entire year to perfect what she's going to bring to that chili cook-off. And when it comes like 2 weeks to, she's making a chili like every other day and refining a recipe until it is perfect. And we had one. This last year. It was like one vote off, and I literally was just like, couldn't two more people have voted on, on whatever, on number 4, whatever number it happened to be. And, so, I love that my mom's a great cook, but I really want to see somebody else take first this year. I'm really getting sick of looking at that trophy every time I go to my mom's house.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll be praying for someone else to win it this year.
And I tried that last year. It was closer. It still didn't work. So, we're giving tips to the people that came in second and third. There was one that was really good, but they showed up late. So many of the tickets had already been put in that I'm encouraging them to come back, get there early, set up, and make sure that they're there for the whole time. Because I think that she's going to, at least if she wins, it's going to be hell. So
yeah. Cool. So I'm curious how you get people to the events. How do you invite them?
Yeah, so everything's done through Evites. We know exactly, they get their reminders. We know who's coming. We know how many people they're bringing. We know if it's just if it's a family of 5, we know if 2 are coming or 5 are coming. Now, is it a perfect system? No. As with anything, you have people that don't RSVP that show up, and you have people that RSVP that don't. So it balances out fairly well. Mm-hmm. But we usually have, when we do it at the house, we usually have about 300 people through. The nice thing is it's usually 100 to 150 at a time, so that it's not too crazy and it is a little bit manageable. Because as you can imagine, we're running around and just trying to say hi to everybody, get in front of everybody, and and visit a little bit. But we are fairly limited with that many people.
Sure.
So it's a little bit chaos, a little bit stressful, but at the same time, we have a blast, and we really count on Evite. I wish we could, I said we had some sort of magic system, but Evite's been incredible for us.
So it's literally just that you call people and invite them, or send them.
I usually do texts.
Okay.
We usually do like a call reminder and a text reminder, and kind of just let everybody know as well. But Evite is where everybody goes when they get the text. They do get a link to the Evite, and part of that is to make it easier on us for tracking and figuring out, who do we need to bring in? Because sometimes we'll cater it, or we'll bring in food trucks. Obviously, the chili cook-off, we have chili from a ton of different people, 20, 30 different chilies. But for the other ones, we've got to figure out food, whether that's going to be, a Chipotle bar or a really cool local food truck. And we've had some really cool ones that kind of shocked me, that were just incredible. They did a great job. And, that the food was the best part, because they did such a phenomenal job.
Awesome. Well, I feel like we could talk for another hour. So
yeah, I talk too much no matter what I do. So I apologize.
It's all good. This has been really good stuff, and I think people have probably taken a lot of little tidbits out of this. So I really appreciate your time being on here, Kevin.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate it.
How can people find you if they want to follow what you're doing?
Anybody can reach out to me at any time. I mean, of course, you can look up Kevin Capra on Facebook. You can look on Instagram. But you can always just call or text me, 303-809-5515. I'm happy to talk to anybody at any time. I mean, again, even when a client's cousin shows up, we did meet, we did talk over things and things he could do differently. And I know he implemented some of it. And luckily, not quite enough, because I did get a referral from another referral that I'm actually supposed to call today from that client. I've met him. I met him about a year and a half ago, and he bought and sold. His mom bought and sold. One of his really good friends bought with me earlier this year, and this is another buyer. So, in a year and a half, he'll be solely responsible for 6 transactions, and he was a referral from another great client. So we really do track all that. We know exactly who it is, so that when that referral comes in from Michael, I can call and tell Michael, thank you, do something for him, make sure that he knows I really do appreciate it, and just call him and say thank you. But more than that, then I call Nicole and Brett, who referred Michael and Megan to me, and I want to call and tell them, hey, thank you for referring Michael. He just referred TJ and Lydia.
Mm.
And I want to go down that line so that they see how cool it is and how impactful that chain is. I don't ever ask for referrals, but I'm really good about calling and thanking people for referrals, making sure they know how much I appreciate it. And I find that is better than asking, because they realize the impact it has. And when they
Mm.
realize, hey, because I gave you this referral, they've given you this business, so that I'm really thanking the original person from that tree, if you will, and looking at every branch that goes out from there.
That in and of itself is a great strategy. I call it the money tree strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. See,
And
okay. So I'm not the
yeah,
only one who
yeah,
thinks of it as
totally,
a tree.
100%.
Okay.
And you could take that all the way back. I mean, you could go 6 levels to the history of the entire relationship.
Yeah,
If you
and
wanted to.
we really do. We track the entire history, because that is really what we count on. You would think our sphere was bigger. When I say we see 300 people, I mean that's with the families. I mean, we have a couple hundred people as far as clients, maybe more. I'd have to really look. But in reality, I don't, it's not like it's not like we are constantly finding new people. And I think that's the beauty in it, is we are counting on people. My next closing, this is their 3rd property since I met them. I met them less than 2 years ago. And, they moved out of state. They got into my sphere. They bought a beautiful home in Sterling Ranch. They love it. That's where they decided they wanted to be. They bought a rental property from me, and now they're buying a property for their parents to move into. As they're getting older, they want to make sure that they're taking care of mom and dad. And, the funny thing is, they said, hey, another agent sent us this. We don't know how we got their info, but can you show us this property? It came through our email. We don't know this agent, but we do love the property. And, we're of course always going to call you. So it's making
Yeah,
sure that people always come back to you. And if you take care of people, they'll take care of you.
absolutely. It's nothing. I mean, it's nothing fancy you're doing. It sounds like it's just
It's not, it's really, kind of what I tell everybody is it's really, if you do the basics right, you'll never have to look for business. And that is
right.
where I think about it. If you send me to your chiropractor, it's really cool. I mean, I don't know anybody that wouldn't appreciate the call of, hey, I really appreciate that referral. Matt at Back to Wellness was awesome. And that's the chiropractor I use. I don't know you, but if you were to give me Matt, I'd be like, he was absolutely incredible. And,
Yeah.
if that chain went all the way up, I don't know anybody that wouldn't appreciate that, because everybody gets to then realize that, hey, they actually did what I said, and, and followed through with it. And that's where I have some crazy conversations because of the financial
Mhm.
background I had from speaking and everything I learned from that, and the people that I got to speak around and with. I learned some just off the wall crazy strategies for finance that I get to talk to clients about. And, when they implement it, they call me back.
Mhm.
So always top of mind.
Yeah. Yeah. That's super. That's awesome.
Yeah, but naturally top of mind, right? Not just,
Exactly.
I
Just
don't want it to be a forced thing. I like people to reach out, again, pretending my
yeah.
phone doesn't make outgoing calls, and, hey, who do you know for this? Who do you know to clean the house? We're having a big event, and we're not going to have time.
Sure.
So
Yeah, and people love to be appreciated or to know that they're appreciated.
yeah, yeah,
So
and
when it comes down to it.
yeah, exactly. So you're really letting people
Mhm.
know that you do, and it goes a lot further than I think people realize. And it's those little things that really move the needle, at least for me, and in my opinion.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Kevin. This has been really awesome to have you on.
Yeah, no, thank you. It was great. And again, I don't know how much time you allotted, but I apologize if I took too much and talked a little
All
bit
good.
too much. That's just again, this is where the wife would go wait in the car for me.
Yeah. Nice. Well, and also for those of you listening, if you have enjoyed this episode, please share it to your friends in the business that could benefit from what Kevin's sharing. This is just a ton of great information.
Absolutely. Thank you, RJ.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Real Estate Agent Superstars. If you're looking to dive deeper into the world of real estate and catch more episodes, head over to our website at www.realestateagentsuperstars.com. Curious about today's guest? Explore our show notes on the website for more details. Before you go, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and follow us on social media for the latest podcast updates. Thanks for tuning in.